Good Erev Yom Tov. It's almost the holiday of Sukkot, and my wish for all of Klal Yisrael, for all the Jewish people, is for there to be peace and good health and security, and all those who wish to try to destroy you shall be destroyed. MAHMOUD Achmeddy'S, a son of people who violated the tenet of the Jewish people, who is a child of a Jewish mother, claims to be Muslim, hates the Jewish people because he feels guilty himself. And so he wants to be more Muslim than the Muslims themselves. And he says the most audacious things. None of those things will come to fruition. Before we said one of the most moving prayers, called Yizkor, I mentioned to the community that there are three things that prevent and are defenses against punishment, against divine wrath. Tshuva, tefillah, tzedakah, returning to God, praying to God, giving charity. On top of those words, tshuva, tefillah, tzedakah, are three other words: tzom, kol, and mammon. Fasting, supplication, using your voice, crying out to God, and giving money. All of them are necessary in the process of returning to God. Why is it necessary to add another measure of explanation when the thing is apparent? Tshuva, returning to God; tefillah, prayer; and tzedakah, giving money for charity. Why do you have to identify this as tzom, as fasting, as kol, crying out? That's prayer. And mammon, giving money, but that's tzedakah. Why is it necessary to have those three items on top of the words tshuva, tefillah, tzedakah? Let me tell you what the great rabbis tell us. The great rabbis tell us that those three words, kol, tzom, and mammon, have the numerical equivalent of 136. They are equal, and together they add up to the number 408. So each one of them is 136, and together they equal 408. What is 408? 408 is the word zos. This. Zos HaTorah, this is the Torah. And God says this is what you have to do. And the ksil, the fool, doesn't know zos, doesn't know this, that the person can change and receive grace from God by changing his or her ways. So when you reach the level of zos, 408, through kol, through crying out to God, through tzom, through fasting, and necessarily learning Torah during that fast, and giving mammon, giving money, those three things together equal zos. This is the Torah, this is the protection for Klal Yisrael, for the Jewish people. There's an interesting commentary from the Maharsha, which goes like this, that ordinarily we say that there are three types of sins which give three types of punishment. But ultimately there are four types of punishment. Punishment in the general world. Number one, hunger. Number two, pestilence. Plague, like Asian flu, or the Spanish flu that killed 50 million people, 1917, 1918. The third thing is war, sword. Those three things kill millions of people. But there's another thing, the Maharsha says, which is even worse. That's called Aish, the fire. The fire consumes everything in its way. Now this is strange. We know of no fires that have destroyed millions of people. We do know about wars. World War II killed over 80 million people. We know about the flu, the Spanish flu, killed maybe 50 million people. Maybe 40 million people died in the Black Plague. A lot of people. What is this fire? So the only thing I could think of is that this is a punishment in the future. The fire refers to nuclear weaponry, nuclear war. And this has no antidote, because there are three types of sins for which there is an antidote. You negate a positive commandment, you negate a negative commandment, you negate a commandment that has capital punishment with it, or soul extinction. But there's a fourth type of sin, and that's desecrating God's name. For this there is no forgiveness till the person dies. And this type of sin seems to be the cause of the fire, which is all-consuming. So this that we are facing, Ahmadinejad, with this fire that can destroy all of Israel, this is because of a lack of Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying God's name. Only in America do they have a recognition of God as part of the founding statements of the country. In Israel, the words that could be interpreted as meaning God can also be interpreted as the foundation of Israel, the courage of the warriors. And therefore, there is no direct mentioning of God in Israel's Declaration of Independence. And that, my friends, is a desecration of God's name. Israel has to come to the awareness that we are the people of God, the chosen people, to be chosen not to rule other people, but to be an example for other people. And we are an example for other people. But we have to recognize this in the context of being God's nation, a nation worshiping the Creator of the universe. So the fire comes for lack of honoring God. But there has to be an antidote. To every sin there's an antidote. What is the antidote, possible antidote? Well, we just learned that the three antidotes to the three types of punishment are equal to 136. What goes beyond 136? Do you know? You'll know now. 137. That's the numerical value of the word Kabbalah. Kabbalah, the secrets of the Torah. Well, then the secrets of the Torah have the antidote to the lack of honoring of God. But then you might say, well, we don't know Kabbalah. Only the great sages, only the holy men or the holy women can study the Kabbalah and really know it. So there's an answer. The Baal Shem Tov teaches us, and all of his students teach us, that all of the secrets of the Torah can be found within the heart of a human being. The heart of a Jew can reach the highest levels possible, because all of the powers and all of the forces and all of the angels and all the souls and all the spheres and all the names of God lie embedded in the heart. And when a person loves God, loves his people, and does what he can to be compassionate and kind to all who come his or her way, when one does so honestly and sincerely because God said so, that's the real Kabbalah, because the purpose of the Kabbalah is to open up the heart, the sincerity of the heart. And that's the antidote. And through Ahavat Yisrael, through love of Israel, through love of God, through love of all of God's creatures, we have the antidote that will negate that fire, and the fire will never be able to be lit. And Ahmadinejad will be hung just like his predecessor Haman, in a gallows 75 feet high. May God grant us the ability to see it this year. Amen.